3 $500 signature bonds didn't stop Patrick Sweeney from contacting his victim dozens and dozens of times. He's now being held on a $50,000 cash bond, but it took all those violations in 4 separate cases to get there. Naomi Cole sat down with Dane County's DA to talk about how his office approaches these types of cases. Naomi?
District Attorney Ishmael Ozan can't talk directly about the Patrick Sweeney case. He views that as an ethics violation. What we did talk about is how his office is approaching domestic violence cases like that, particularly in the wake of the Waukesha parade tragedy that put bail reform into focus in Wisconsin. One person, 93 bail jumping charges. Generally speaking, that's not the norm.
A lot of times, we won't look to charge every violation.
In Patrick Sweeney's case, the Dane County District Attorney's Office chose to charge him for every time he tried to contact his victim while out on release. That was dozens and dozens of times after already being charged with stalking and abusing the victim Sweeney was trying to contact. In domestic violence cases, DA Ishmael Ozan says that's a trigger.
Those smaller violations actually become much more serious, especially if they're repeated. And so in those situations, we would likely charge more of the specifics where we felt it was appropriate.
When domestic abuse is involved, smaller crimes may hold more significance.
That's a flashpoint. That is, at times, the most serious level of danger for them. They are actually reaching out for help.
His office uses law enforcement lethality assessments and a variety of other risk factors when weighing bail recommendations for judges and commissioners.
At some level, this isn't a perfect science. We can't predict the future. We can have some good ideas at times, and we can try to put in place safety plans for victims to make sure that they are being as safe as possible, that we are supporting them as best we can. But we as the system can't be with them 24/7.
But ultimately, the larger conversation is more complex than any single case or event.
I think the consequences to knee-jerk reactions sometimes are worse than what we're trying to solve with them.
One thing I talked to Ozan a lot about in our conversation was cash bail reform. It's a target of a legislative push to change the Constitution in Wisconsin in the wake of the Waukesha tragedy, and you'll hear more from him and others in the future as we look at the broader implications for the state.